Welcome back to the ONEA0 podcast.
We definitely didn't rehearse that.
This is Sadie and Addi. We're just here to talk about Jesus today. We hope you've been having a good week, if anyone's listening out there.
We are not like near as organized this time as we were last time, so this will be interesting.
We're trying to talk from the overflow of our hearts here.
Yeah. Which like me and Sadie talked for like probably 2 hours last night about what we should have talked about today, but now
On the
it's
podcast,
like gone.
yeah.
So that's great.
But we do want to dive into, well, first, actually, we did set some goals for ourselves last podcast.
Yeah.
So we
just
should
a
probably
reminder on our goals. I said that I was gonna wake up earlier and like study the word and
good morning routine.
yeah, just have like a good morning routine. And then Sadie, what was yours?
I wanted to be more consistent in my journaling.
Okay. How are you doing on those?
So technically it's been 2 weeks. I'd say over half of the days. That might also be pushing it. Maybe like a good half. So maybe like 7 days worth. It was a good, but I will say I've also had like better intentional conversations that I'm still like getting the thoughts out and talking about what Jesus is doing, which was the goal. Like that was my intentions behind it.
Yeah.
So how about you?
Mine's not going great. I got up early like 3 days. I really hate mornings. Like, and so like I'm still reading
They're
my
so
Bible
hard.
and stuff. I'm just not doing it in the morning.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah. And so like I'm normally like I listen to a podcast or something in the morning while I get ready. So like I'm still getting Jesus. It's just not the way I wanted to do it. Which is like good that I'm still like trying.
Yes.
But at
Sometimes
the same
you
time,
just gotta say good morning to Jesus, and that's you gotta wake up for a while before you can dig into the word.
And like I don't process it whenever I read it in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. And then if I do that, then I feel like I just have to reread it because it's like I don't want to. Yeah.
It's like I can't process it.
But let's talk about what we have been reading since Holy Week.
Yeah. So Sadie, let's start with you.
So on Saturday and Sunday I read John 19 and John 20, which is some pretty heavy chapters, but it lays it out. Like that is what we're celebrating, what Jesus did. So did you read those too?
I read them, but like I didn't take notes on them or anything.
Yeah, same. I just
like read them. Which like if I don't take notes, then like I have a really hard time like retaining.
Same.
So,
but we were talking a lot about, I feel like for both of us, just like Easter themes this week. I think I can speak for you when I say this. We've been talking a lot about like just Jesus's obedience to God's will. Yes. I think like that has been a huge thing, and just like his perfect timing in that. So do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Like we were just talking a lot about like how like Jesus didn't have to suffer, and like Jesus knew the timing of what had to happen. How like many times like the Pharisees tried to catch Jesus doing something quote unquote wrong, and
he just got to walk away. He just had that mic drop moment because God was simply like, nope, it's not yet.
Nope.
Like he was just protected in that.
Yeah, and like it was all in God's timing, and like Jesus just knew that it was like.
Yes. And I think there's so much comfort in like, yes, the storms will come, like suffering will come, but it still is in God's perfect timing, and there still isn't like so much purpose in that. And I don't know, just to wrap our minds around like the true suffering that he went through, and he didn't, like he truly did not have to or have any like obligation besides outside of the Father's will. Like that was the obligation, but like he didn't
have to do it for us.
And even we watched the new King of Kings movie. If you haven't watched that, you should go watch that. It's an animated children's movie, but it portrays the Jesus story pretty well. And even like seeing Jesus like go up on the cross with the two other guys, it's heavy to see.
Yeah, especially like as a kids movie, I feel like that was just like it had some really powerful moments.
Yeah, but I think that's so important to like just teach kids the truth as young as possible. Like this is what happened. He did suffer and die for you.
One part and I really liked about that movie was like it had the scene where Peter walked on water to Jesus, and then like he was walking on water and then like he like started to get distracted and whatever. And so like then he like fell into the water and stuff. And Jesus like came over and reached down and grabbed him.
Yes,
Like
the
I
like putting
love
his
that
hand
scene.
into the water
But
is
then,
so
like, I
good.
love how at the end of the movie, because like, it's about Charles Dickens telling his little child, like, about Jesus.
Spoiler.
Yeah, sorry. But, like, the little kid, like, goes up to the water and, like, is falling in at the very end to, like, symbolize, like, his giving his life to Jesus. And, like, Jesus comes in, wraps his arms around him in the water, and, like, switches places with him, sending the little kid
Yes.
up to the surface and sending Jesus down to the depths. And it, like,
So good.
it was so good. Like, I've never thought of it like that. Like, Jesus took our place in the drowning water. Cause, like, fun fact about me, drowning is my ultimate fear. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
like, just the way that that was, like, I've
Yeah,
never
like,
thought of it like that.
he goes down so we could go up, which
Yeah.
yeah, everything about
Which
it
is
is
just so crazy.
so
Like,
yeah. And, like, God's timing in it, if you ever are wondering, like, what is the timeline in this? Why is this happening? But when you really look and read, even with Elizabeth, um, John's mother, who paved the way of Jesus, Elizabeth was barren for so many years, and she was like, "Why is this happening?" Questioning God. Like, of course, if you want to have a child and it's just not happening for so long, you probably start to lose faith. But then when you step back and look at the bigger picture and what like came of that, if it wasn't in that perfect timing, then John wouldn't have been the age and maturity and have the wisdom that he would have had to like lead and pave the way of Jesus. And then Jesus's life would have been, I don't know, in different timeline because he was at 30 years old and then he had ministry for a few years and then it was his time to die for us. And it's just so wild when you step back and see like everything is so intricately pieced together in God's
yes.
timing. And then there's so much freedom and like security in God's timing. You can't mess it up. Like
Yeah.
his will is secure and his will reign. Like it is overpowering, I guess. Like
Yeah.
you can't mess it up.
Which is
So,
just so, so, so comforting. Like,
yeah.
God factors in your mess ups. He factors in my words, he factors in your stupidity.
Yes,
Like,
I just saw a video that was like if you die tomorrow and you were asked, like, right before you died or something, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sure are you that you're going to heaven? And you say 7. It's like, you really think Jesus only died for 70% of your sins? Like, n
that's
no,
good.
like, he factored in all of it. Like, he did
I've
that.
never thought of it like that.
Me either. I was like, "That's really good." Like, he
That's good.
did it over and over again for us. Like, he went through all that pain knowing what was to come. And it wasn't again, it's not what he wanted. He asked the Lord to take it from him if he could, but he was still willing to be obedient to that because he knew that was his purpose. So,
Yeah.
it's
That's
just
good. I've never thought of it like
it's
that.
so comforting. Like, you can't cuz then it's like an insult to Jesus. Like, no, he didn't only die for half of my sins. Like, that's not true. He paid it all. Like, I'm secure in my identity now.
That's so
Yeah.
good. Wow.
S
My brain is broken over that one.
That's so good. Speaking of identity, you wanna touch on what was talked about this morning at FCA?
Oh my goodness, this was such a good way to like okay, so I went to FCA this morning, which I normally don't go to FCA because again, mornings we just talked about this. But like but there was this speaker, his name was Jason
Brand.
Brand, and he was like is he over FCA?
He is the Indiana State Director, so he leads, like, all the huddles in a way of
Yeah.
Indiana.
Yeah, and so, like, again, I never go to this, but he talked about Psalm 23, which Sadie can recite from memory, I'm sure.
Which, yeah, we're like we know Psalm 23, like, it's in my heart, it's in my Instagram bio, like, I love that, but he still pulled out some really good stuff this morning.
Like, he pointed out how, like, the Lord is my shepherd, and it actually, like, never s explicitly says that he's talking about sheep. Like, it was so, like I'd never thought about that, which I mean, like, it's kinda obvious now that, like, I think about it, but, like, it never explicitly says that it was talking about sheep. And then he was like, "You can tell your identity from knowing the shepherd. And like by seeing the shepherd, you know that it's talking about
Yeah.
you as a sheep. And like it was
Yeah,
just
it's not explicitly said, but it's implied because he is the shepherd. So then that shows like when you know who the Lord is, then you know who you are. And
yes.
it was just so it was such a good little golden
It was
nugget
so
what he
good.
said
Like
in that I don't think any of us expected it. And I don't know if everyone like got onto it, but I was like,
but it was so
wow,
good.
like that was good. Um
Like over the last 2 weeks, like I've been reading Psalm 23 every day because like I don't have it memorized. I'm not as good as Sadie and Holy. It's fine.
I'll make you a decor. I have it on my
Yes,
wall, so if I forget, I literally look up on my wall and
I need
see.
one.
Make you
Okay,
one.
but like, anyways, I like have started saying that every day, and like he talked about that today. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and he was talking about because he asked, he was trying to be interactive with the crowd, which, it was 7:30 AM, so that's a little difficult,
With a
but
bunch of middle schoolers.
he asked, like, "What do you think of when you think of a sheep?" And me and Addie both said in unison, "They're dumb." And he said, "Yeah, they're not intelligent." And then he said, "They can't survive on their own because they need to know where they go. They need to know where food and water are, because again, they're not intelligent." And then they said they're defenseless, which goes back to Psalm 23. It says, "His rod and his staff protects and comforts me." And yeah, that was just such a good reminder because we love Psalm 23 and it's comforting in all aspects, I think. You can work the Lord being your shepherd into a lot of struggles, highs, lows, anything. But the identity aspect, I feel like that's just been a common theme too lately of just our identity being rooted in Christ. And when he said, like, it's not even explicitly said that we're sheep, but we know we're sheep because we know who the shepherd is. And sometimes we don't know what our identity or purpose is or what God's calling us to do or be, but we know who the Lord is and we know his faithfulness and his character. So we can get our identity from that.
Yeah,
And that was just really good.
it was. It was really good.
So
I
there's some
really enjoyed that.
encouragement for you.
What else is on our agenda?
Oh, let's talk about Easter. If any of you listened to Tulip Church podcast or went there, plug for them. Um, we So the whole sermon was based about Mary and the woman when they were going to anoint Jesus' body at the tomb. They were worried and they were like, "Who's going to move the stone?" Because this was a huge stone that had to be rolled away, and no one
Like they believe that it was around 3,000 pounds, and it
like.
was Mary and Mary, just like little old ladies. Okay, they're not old ladies, but little ladies. Like
But they couldn't have done it on their own, but they were still going to be going to honor Jesus's body. But then they're like, "Hold up, wait, there's like a huge obstacle in the way. What are we going to do?" And oftentimes we feel called to do something and we're going to go do something for the Lord, but then something big or small gets in the way and we're like, okay, I have no idea what to do. Like, what's going to happen? Who will move the stone? But the women kept going and then the Lord was faithful and the stone was
and the
rolled
stone was
away.
gone. Like they were worried about it, but the stone had already been moved and the plan had already been put into action.
Yes. And that can be such like it's in our life all the time. Um, you can view a lot of things as stones. Like, um, I think, Addie, you mentioned on the 180 story.
Maybe.
Maybe this was anonymous, but she said, like, the stone of anxiety or depression, or maybe even selfishness or your
Pride,
convenience, or,
like
yes, pride, or there's a stone of like,
greed, like there's just so many.
so many changes are coming up. This is such a busy season of life. So it could be like hurriedness or fear of the future or
Self identity.
yes, it can be applicable to literally anything, but I think lately the Lord has been moving the stone of um I'd say hurriedness. I think we've been
Yeah.
really intentional lately. I mean, I can't say that my schedule has been less busy. I still have a very full schedule, but I think it's more of a heart posture of like, what am I doing with this time? Is it intentional? And the Lord has really been just reminding me of that and putting me in check of that. Like, he will move the stone if I let him. And I can't just be like, well, who's gonna move it? Like,
Yeah.
he will be faithful to it, but you have to get to it and allow it to be moved. So, what stones have you been having moved recently?
The wording on that was great.
Yup.
I wish that there were pictures to go with your face. What stone has been moved lately? I would say just like I don't really know how to word this, but like this stone of like preparation almost. Like, cause I am a big planner and I'm a big like overthinker. And like my future is so up in the air, it's not even funny. And so like I feel like God's been moving that stone of like the need to prepare, but I don't know what you would call that. Like, I don't know.
But more like living in the checklist, like
Yes, because I just like
having
I love
the
having a
schedule.
plan. Yes, the stone of schedule. Like
Yes, yes, I totally agree with you.
yes, and like, cuz like I'm moving to Guatemala next year. I'm living with a random family. Like there's so many things about my future that I don't know and I don't have a checklist for it. And so
Mhm,
like that like is really hard for me to like give up, but like I'm
mhm.
trusting that God has that stone already in place to move.
I talked with Ashlyn recently, and we were talking about there's so much freedom in just simply not having a schedule sometimes.
Yes.
Like, the way my mind works, I have to write everything down, have to-do lists every day, have a schedule for everything, but and that's fine, like, it makes me remember things, it makes me be more productive, but when you get caught in the habit of going through the motions and just doing things to do them and like your heart isn't in it or you're not sure if you're being faithful to the Lord in that because it's just your routine of it, I guess, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like, yeah, there's just so much freedom in not confining yourself to a schedule sometimes.
Yeah.
Cuz it I mean, it's scary, but so much of faith also is just
Is scary. It's
flashlight,
supposed to be.
not floodlight.
Yeah.
He
Like it's
gives you
supposed to
one
be
step at a
scary.
time. Your word is a light unto my feet and a lamp unto my path. It's not a floodlight. Like it
Yeah.
gives he tells us one step at a time. So having obedience in that and not trying to prepare so far ahead, which guys, if you didn't know this, Addie's moving to a new country. Like that's a little scary, but she knows God has called her to it. So just having that faith and stepping into the unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's a huge stone to be moved, but, Jesus is faithful, so
yeah. Like I like literally have it written up on my mirror like still trusting him like cuz it's just like often a daily reminder that like I have to just like focus on Jesus and I have to just trust him to like move the stones. And
yeah,
like it's a struggle, but
and I think that reminds me of forgiveness, just the topic of forgiveness. Sometimes we think it's a one and done type of thing, but no, forgiveness is every day, it's a choice every day, and just like
yes.
the stones being moved, you have to ask the Lord because unconsciously or not, or purposely, I guess, we'll pick the stones back up,
Yeah.
um we'll hold back onto them, roll them back over the grave, but we have to constantly be in that heart posture of like, okay, Lord, whatever it is, move it out of the way. I want to be as close to you as possible. I want the path to
Yeah.
you to be as straight and narrow as
Straight and
possible.
narrow.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we've been learning about Easter. We hope you've had a good Holy Week and week after now, a couple
Yeah.
weeks after. But we hope you have some reflection time on Easter. This is
Yes.
our reflection. Moving into what are we moving into? What's coming up?
Oh my goodness, hold on, I have to think. Obviously like personal life stuff like graduations coming up and like all of that, and so like reminding ourselves to not get into that busyness
Yeah.
and like to take in the days. Like I've started like a daily countdown on my like
Mhm.
Instagram stories, and like they're just pictures of every day because like I want to remember this last like little bit of school.
Yeah.
And so like just taking in the days is good.
That goes back to the God's perfect timing because I think I can say for both of us and most high schoolers that I know, like we don't like the end of the year. We want to just be done with it and we're slipped into the hurriness.
Yes.
But like God did plan us perfectly and in his timing. Like we are supposed to be at this stage of life right now. and whoever's listening is too, whatever you're at right now, whether you're ending 6th grade or some college year, I don't know. Um, but yeah, like, when we just step back out of the hurry and realize and can be thankful for, "Okay, this is where God wants me to be right now, and I
Yeah.
have to be a good steward of that," because I personally have been like, "Oh, I can't wait to get out of here." Like, I'm so
Yes.
excited for what he has for me, and
I'm
I
not
just can't
necessarily, like,
wait.
so excited. I'm really scared about that
Well,
future,
yes.
but it's okay.
But there's
But,
a
like, I'm just so excited to not have to go to school every day. Like, the freedom?
but it's just like when we think about it, how many opportunities do we have at school or for me and Addie at work, since we don't
Yeah.
really go to
And, like,
school,
one thing,
that
like,
we
has
get
really
to
been,
witness
like
to people
yes.
and we like this is some of our last chances per se of just witnessing and being the hands and feet of Jesus or serving people in our town and community in any way we can. And maybe that is the only purpose to it. Like,
Yeah.
and that's enough.
Yeah. And, like, it's just so important to remember that, like, you're in your mission field wherever you're at. Like, God
Mhm.
has called you to that for a time such as this. Like, to quote Esther, like, you're meant to be where you are. And if that's walking the hallways every day for the next however long, then you just have to walk those hallways with God and, like,
Yeah.
remember that He is your roots and your firm foundation.
Stepping into summer. Um I'm really excited for
I'm
summer.
so excited.
But I've been thinking a lot about CIY last year. We had a challenge, the Rhythms Challenge.
I wasn't at CIY last year, so what was it?
Ooh, okay, this is great. If you weren't at CIY like Addie, there was a Rhythms Challenge, which we talked a lot about Psalm 23. It is a great scripture to just slow down, um, yeah, and walk at the pace Jesus walked because Jesus was never in a hurry. And this is what the challenge was all about, is about being in a slower rhythm, learning rhythms of grace, and just following, like reflecting what Jesus did and how he truly lived day to day. And so the Rhythms Challenge, there's a checklist of things, but you can only be on social media for like 15 minutes a day, and you have to go on a 21-minute walk every day. And there's 21 chapters of John, so you read a chapter of John every day because it's a 21-day challenge, and you journal every day. And there's weekly challenges where you pray or do something for someone or different things. I'm sure I'm missing some, but it was just a constant, like, you had to stay in the heart posture of like, okay, I'm getting into God's word. I'm taking care of the body that God has given me. I'm staying in community because it's designed to do with other people and stay accountable for. I'm praying for others. I'm thinking about what God is doing. It was just a great way to maintain that rhythm of grace and slow slow down a bit, especially in summer when you're kind of,
Because my summer's packed.
well, yeah, that's another story. But I want to maybe try to do rhythms again because I think it
I think
was,
that'd be good.
yeah, it's so good.
Because, like, it's
But
good to just, like, take that time out and carve
mhm,
it out. Like,
what is your summer packed with, Addie?
a million things. First, we have training week for the missions trip.
Ooh,
Super excited.
I forgot about
Like,
this.
we've put in a lot of time and effort into this VBS already. Like, me and Sadie sat there for quite a while, writing like skits and like figuring out jobs for everybody.
So, if you didn't know, some of us upperclassmen, but there's some
There's some
underclassmen
underclassmen.
too. We usually do it every other year at 180. We go on a missions trip, and we're not going anywhere exotic. We're going to Dayton, Ohio,
Whoop
but
whoop.
we are helping with Sudanese refugee kids, which sounds, I'm so excited. Like, uh, I'm just
I'm
so
so
excited what the
excited.
Lord
I
will do.
love kids and like
It's
I'm
so
so
good.
excited.
And we're doing building projects during the day and running a VBS at night. So this is one of the many things we'll be doing with 180 this summer. But like Addie said, it's completely up to us to plan and prepare.
And, like,
And
VBS is one of my favorite things, like, it's my childhood memories of, like, VBS. It's just I'm so excited,
yes, we're so
like,
excited.
so
And
excited.
again, like, that's our mission field. That's gonna be our mission field for the whole week is pouring into these projects and kids, and we wanna be prepared for that. So it's also just a great opportunity to put us into leadership and ministry
Yeah,
positions and just going to be the hands and feet
yeah.
going and being
The
the
hands
hands
and
and feet
feet.
of Jesus. And another trip we're going on with 180 this summer is
We're going to camp. I'm so, so excited. Camp is the reason I live, guys, like, and I
I
don't even think
truly
I'm
don't know
exaggerating.
if you love Jesus out there, I don't know and you don't go to camp, I don't know how you get
I
through
don't think
your
it's a
years.
thing, like
Yeah, we really love camp around here, but this year, 180 is
we're going to Dublin, Virginia.
yes, for the first time as a group.
Which, like, I've been before. I've gone to this camp for years. Like, I know everyone at this camp. Like, I love it. A couple other 180 kids have been. Georgia Durpin and Ian Corbin have been. Um, I think that's it, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And so, like, we're all super excited who have been, and the ones who haven't, I feel like are a little more nervous just because, like,
Well,
this is completely different than
yeah, I don't know
CIY.
what to expect. I know it's different than CIY because CIY is more corporate, big college
Yeah.
campus like, and this is like small
This
town
is small.
feel.
Like,
But I love that about
I'm so
camps. I
excited
love
because,
when you
like,
can go to a camp and
oh,
feel like family with
so
everyone.
excited. I
So
literally just I'm so, so excited. But like the church services that take place and like it's just gonna be so good.
there's just something about camp when you just go to a completely different place with your friends and you get to unplug and not have distractions and you're
Yes.
closer to the Lord and you're just in the word and you're just learning new things. Like
Yes.
it's just a refresh that we all need. It's
It's
great.
so good. Like just to take that break and just be with Jesus, like with your friends, like in a community, it's just so good. I'm so excited.
And it can feel hurried and busy because, church camps, they're packed into all
But
the
like
fun things.
we normally get like an hour and a half of rest time a day.
Oh,
Like,
yes. I love that about camp too, when you carve out your own little quiet time. Because at
yes.
CIY, we do have that Selah time, which is,
Yeah.
I think, a game changer where
Which,
you
like,
just get to
what it
go.
normally is it's, like, free time, and it's, like, an hour
Mhm.
every day, so, like, it's just the girls, and, like so what they do is, like, girls all stay back at, like, the campground area, and, like, you could go-kart, you could just journal, like, you could do whatever you want because there's all sorts of activities, and then, like, all the boys will go and they'll, like, do their pool time or vice versa, and we'll swap it out, and, like, it's
Awesome.
just so enjoyable, like, I just love it, like, last year, I think during, like, my rest time every day. Like I would just stay in the room and like I would read my Bible for a little bit and then
Yeah.
like I would just hang out with the people like because it's just so important to hang out with the people that you're there with. Like
Yes, camp friendships are so real.
they're so
Like,
good
I
and
have
like
so many people in my life that I don't know what I would do without now, and
yeah.
I just met a few years ago at church camp, and I get to see them a couple days a year, and
But like
it's
every
so
time you
good.
see them it like picks up right where you left off.
Yes,
Like
and it's so good.
yes, I
I
love it
love
so
that.
much. I'm so excited. Like
Yeah.
I just love camp. And like I get to see all those old friends and oh, I'm so excited.
Yes. So, if you're not busy on July 5th through the 9th, even if you are, it's
Yeah,
worth
even if you are like me and Ian's birthdays take place over
it's
camp, but
worth
we go.
rearranging your
Like,
schedule for, like, you will not regret going to camp,
yeah.
I don't think. Like
And if you regret going to camp, do you even love Jesus? Like, sorry to be that way.
But, like, it just camp is truly life-changing. Me and my siblings, I know for sure, like, we would not be who we are
Oh yeah, for
without
sure.
church
Like
camp.
the life-changing moments that have taken place at camp are just like
Yeah.
insane. Like I've full on just like I've laid things at the foot of the altar before and like walked away a different person. It's like it's just like it's so important. It's such a place of growth. Like
Yes. But then it's like when you leave, it's so hard. Camp high.
yes, because like I heard it so good. I went to this retreat back in January and like the way that they worded it was so good. Hold on, let me think about it. You had a life-changing experience this week, but the rest of the world didn't. And so like you have to keep that in mind whenever you go back because like it's so hard to like keep that faith up because you're living in a bubble. Like you have
Yeah.
this protective bubble of camp where like everyone loves Jesus and everyone wants to get closer and like everyone's encouraging you and encouraging one another and like it's just a struggle,
But then you
especially,
have the
like
responsibility to come back and share that and
yes.
keep it up and keep your fire and
Yes.
long after the Lord like you did long after the Lord during that week.
Yes. It's so hard coming back, but it is so worth it because it grows your faith so much.
Yes. And it's just like it's that extra push that you need sometimes of just like, okay, I can do this. Like this is what I love to do. Sometimes
Yes.
it's hard or it's easy to get into the cycle of like, I don't like I'm better without or
Yeah.
I don't want to do this today. But when you're surrounded by people who all we want to do is be with Jesus and praise the Lord, it's
Yes.
so much easier. So then when you see that and then you get to go home, like you have to be that to others to
Yeah.
make that happen, which is a responsibility and it's sometimes it's like unrealistic expectations, which you have to take it easy and like
And you have to be forgiving of
create
yourself.
yeah, you have to have grace, but creating habits and practices that are attainable
Yeah, and, like,
can
keeping
keep it
in
going.
contact, I think, is so important too, because, like
Yes.
especially because, like, over the last couple of years of going to Virginia's camp, like, I go up there for a week with all these Virginians, and, like, I spend time with my Virginians, and then, like, I come back to Indiana by myself, and, like, it's really lonely whenever I come back
Mhm.
because, like, all my friends that I just made and that I've had this life-changing experience with, like, are
Yeah.
in a different state 8 hours away. And so, like, it's always been, like, really hard coming back. But, like, I'm kind of excited for this year because, like, I get to take my friends with me and, like, they get to have that life-changing experience too and come back and keep each other accountable and
I
stuff.
think it's so important to stay in contact, like you said. I have a we went to a ministry elective last year at CIY and we got broken off into groups and we made a group chat and I was just telling Addie the other day, like we're still texting. It's really random
Yeah.
and a lot of time passes by, but it's so nice to know that someone might just text you that you met for a few days at a camp and say, "Hey, how can I pray for you? Like, I hope God
Yes.
is moving in your life. Like, here's what God is doing in mine." Like, that's just so refreshing to have that community, and God will provide that, and sometimes it feels so far-fetched, but camp is a great way to just
It
find
is.
people
Like, it's
that
so
love
good.
Jesus as much
Like,
as you.
so good because, like, I only see these people once, maybe twice a year because, like, through the denomination that, like, we all are, like, we have conferences and stuff. And so, like, I see them, once, maybe twice a year, but I also text them. Like,
Mhm.
some of them I text every week, most of them I text once a month, like, just like check in and be like, how is life? And, like, it's just so important to, like, keep that
And it's
door
so cool
open.
because these people are from different backgrounds. They're from like they're in different areas of life, stages of life that they're going through. So you can learn from them, you can encourage them.
They can help you, like, going into your next season.
Yes,
Like,
it's so just community can be so
it's
fruitful
so
when you
good.
let it. Yeah.
So good.
So
Yeah.
here's your encouragement not to stay lonely in your room. Go to church and
Yes.
find some
Don't lock
friends.
yourself in a dark room.
I keep seeing this I keep seeing this reel about well, I think it's more about, like, finding your future spouse and then, like, praying to God for your future spouse or to find friends or something, and then, like, me right after the sermon ends, and they're, like, running out of church, like
I saw
which
that
is,
the
like,
other
so
day.
funny, but,
I
like,
was like, that's actually
church
me.
community actually just can change your life if you let it, so
Yes, that's literally me. Like, I just run out the door as soon as church is over. I get, like, really bad social anxiety sometimes.
Here's your encouragement to not do that. Say hi to at least one person.
It's just so hard. People are scary.
They're not that bad.
Okay, since the extroverted one.
Well, Jesus did that. I used to, like, hate
Jesus
talking
was
to people.
yeah.
I used to not
Was Jesus an
order
extrovert though?
honestly, like, he had his own little
He
group
had his
and
friends. He
but he
definitely
would never,
was.
like, turn away from somebody.
Yeah. I mean,
I
he
would
literally,
really
like, talked in
love
front of, like, 5,000 people.
yeah, that's true. But also that's another thing, like, go back to the will of the Father, like, he knew that was what he was supposed to do, so it's not like
Yeah, it's not like he was ever doing it alone. Like, he was doing it with his father. Like,
and he's experienced every pain, emotion, whatever that we
which is
have.
just so crazy.
So
Like,
he surely felt some anxiety at many
I mean, he
points.
literally, like, was crying and sweating blood. Like,
Yeah,
he knows anxiety. And so,
which
like,
is just comforting in
it's
itself,
so
but
comforting. Like, Jesus' whole life is just so comforting. Like, this last week especially, Like, I've just been, like, thinking so much about how, like, Jesus's friends betrayed him. Like, it's just so, like, it's
Yeah,
just
like,
crazy to me.
every hard situation we've ever been through.
Like, Jesus has to.
Yeah,
Like,
and
whenever Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane to pray, he, like, was like, "You disciples, like, stay here and pray for me, and, like, just pray with me, like, join me in this." And then, like, he, like, went away, he prayed, and he had, like, this, like, that's whenever he was sweating the blood, and, like, he was just having this, like, really intense moment, and then, like, he comes back and his friends all fell asleep. And, like, could you just imagine how, like, depressing that would have had to have been?
how
And, like,
many
how
times do we fall asleep on
upsetting.
God when he asks us to do
Exactly, and, like,
something
I got
so
to thinking
small?
about it, I was like, "How many times do I fall asleep on God whenever he asks me to do something?" And I just, like,
Or fall asleep on a friend, like, they were supposed to be
yeah,
his closest friends, and we're supposed to be in
yeah,
accountability and, like, relationship with people around us, but how many times do we
like,
fall asleep on them?
yes.
Yeah.
It's, like, it's crazy. Like, I just can't with Jesus's life, it's just so
But it's
crazy.
so comforting because anytime I ever, like, question my faith, I'm like, "No, Jesus literally came down as a human to demonstrate it to us."
And, like, Jesus took on all of our pain, all of our emotions, all of
Yeah.
our sin, like,
He who knew no sin became sin so we could
yes,
have
and, like, in
relationship.
that moment, he was completely separated from his father.
Yeah.
Like, that it's just it's so crazy to me, like, I just can't even. Like, Jesus is just so cool. Like, I just love him so
There's
much.
the quote for the day. Jesus is so cool. We hope you know that Jesus is so cool. He loves you. He made you perfect in his
So
image,
cool.
and he sees you, and his timing is perfect. So, we hope you have a great week.
Do we have a challenge for them this week?
Ooh, what are we
I like to
challenging?
challenge people, like, I
Well, okay, so wrapping it up with what we were just talking about falling asleep on Jesus or falling asleep on your friends when you're asked to do a faith something of faith, like stepping out in faith. And we talked about at the beginning, um, Jesus's obedience to God's will. So I think this week our challenge should be looking at what we need to be staying awake for. Like,
yeah,
what are we falling asleep on, and how should we be staying awake for it instead?
yes.
So
I think
let's
that's a great question.
let's check back in next week
Yeah.
about if we're staying awake.
Alright, guys, have a blessed week.